Hello everyone, this is Kuroda giving you a shoutcast and a game between LiquidSheth versus LiquidHero here on Tall Dream Altar. Game 1 in a best of 3 series. Here from MLG Providence. The replay plaque was just released, so I'm going to be going over some of the games. I know it has been a little bit of time since Providence, and actually DreamHack has already happened, but then again, I always like to cast high-level games, and replays have been difficult to come by as of late. We see Sheth spawning as the red Zerg player on the bottom left-hand side of the map at the 8 o'clock position. Meanwhile, Hero spawning as the blue Protoss on the top right-hand side. Hero with a slight advantage in overall probes right now, as we see a very, very early spawning pool. So Sheth going for a very early spawning pool, a 7 pool here. And we'll see how this works out for him. He went for a 7 pool. He's going to be able to get a lot of units. He may try to use that extractor trick as well in order to free up some food. And then he's just going to rush in with 6 Zerglings. We may see a Forge fast expansion here. This is more of a metagame play, as a lot of Zerg players are now trying to use earlier Zerglings in order to deal with that fast expansion. Hero may be trying to get a little bit greedy. If he goes for a Nexus first, that is going to put him in a world of hurt. He should be going for a Forge first, as we now see a drone simply pass by, not going to activate the Xel'Naga Tower, not going to spot the probe there. As we now see Zerglings being added, there it is, 12/10, canceling both. I'm training up 6 Zerglings now. Most likely we will be getting up an Overlord in just a moment as well. And we'll see what's going to be happening here. There is that Overlord harvester count, 9 compared to 15. But the Zerglings are already on the way out across the field, and Hero needs to do something about this. He does have a Forge. He can get a cannon or 2, but the cannon may not be up in time. Is there a pylon inside the base? No pylon in the base at all, as a drone now is making its way over. Front door, we are going to see 1 cannon there. A second cannon may be added, or perhaps a gateway to try to limit the amount of room that these units have to run around, as the Zerglings don't know where to go. The drone coming back over here, and this one Overlord is not going to spot anything at all, and that slight misdirection is going to give Hero enough time to finish off this wall. And now Sheth is going to have 6 Zerglings and nothing to really show for it, as that cannon has now finished. Really just painful maneuver there. Sheth going to come in, take some easy damage, perhaps going to start knocking on the Forge. I believe the Forge is actually close enough, a little bit of surface area here where that cannon would not be able to attack, and now we see that Nexus coming into play already. A drone now making its way over, going to start pecking away at the probe. The probe should actually lose to the drone, since we do have natural regeneration, and there's the pylon. The probe now going to wander back there. Zergling's going to come back home, take down this pylon, but this is going to be an uphill battle for Sheth now, as Hero already has his Nexus up and will have a faster expansion than his opponent. There's the drone growing up to be a hatchery. Queen is in play. Sheth is going to have to spawn a lot of larvae in order to get back into things, perhaps training up a second queen as well, as we hear that the Zerglings able to finish off that 1 scouting probe, and we'll see what the next tactic will be. Now, what I expect to come in next is, after the Cybernetics core, for Hero to go into Stargate play. Stargate play, very common transition after the Forge fast expand, as the roaches are normally the main problem that a lot of Protoss players have to deal with, and Void Rays are so effective against all of those units. We'll see whether Hero does go for that Stargate, or if he's just going to start mining away pretty traditionally, as we are now getting that Chrono boost out onto that Warp Gate tech. We are training up a second Zealot as well, and we may be getting in some Zerglings as the getting into some Stalkers and Sentries, as the Zerglings just simply run by, and we'll see how these players are going to respond later on. Hero does have a probe all the way on the far side of the map. He may set up a proxy pylon, warp in units, or he may try to set up a proxy Stargate, but no, it's not going to be a proxy Stargate. An old-fashioned Stargate here back at home, as we do have 1 Overlord keeping sight and keeping track of all of these probes. Now, the Overlord could try to do a little bit of just scouting and figure out what is going on the inside of the space. It's going to be quite some time before we see any Stalkers, as Zealots are now moving across the field. We currently have 4 Zerglings and 1 Queen back at home. A Queen very effective, at taking care of business. That natural +1 armor reduces the amount of damage that those zealots do from 16 down to 14. And then the queen just tanks that damage as the Zerglings try to engage. The queen now trying to take down those zealots. The zealots are going to surround. No, are going to get a partial surround here as the zealots and the Zerglings are battling it out. That one zealot down over there going to take a little bit of damage. He may get off enough damage onto a drone, though. No, the zealots have overexposed themselves. And now Hero does get taken down. Taking a look at the total losses, 275 compared to 87. And there is also this probe down over here. It most likely is spotted. And now that probe is just going to run into a sea of Zerglings there. The probe is mineral pathing, though, and will be able to get inside. We do see a Void Ray in the air going to destroy this one Overlord. As the Overlord does get this shot down here, we'll see what is going to come in, as well as Sheth now, or was a little bit supply blocked for just a moment, now training up 3 additional Overlords to get back into this. 37 probes versus 33 drones. Zerglings now making their way through these destructible rocks. Very heavy armor, though, so it's going to be quite some time as the Void Ray now doing the trek across the field. Void Rays do move relatively slowly for an air unit. Only 2.25, and I believe only Overlords move slower, actually, and all of the massive units as well, as the Void Ray still doing a little bit of patrolling. You can see that the Phoenixes are looking for a fresh Overlord, making sure that there is not as much scouting position by Sheth. Sheth is not able to set up all of his Overlords in the right and proper locations, as we have sentries and the Forge now getting level 1 weapons upgrade. Void Ray looking to perhaps put a little bit of pressure back in that natural expansion. Hatchery is upgrading to tier 2 at the natural expansion. The main base is not upgraded at all, as the Void Ray is simply just going to wait off over here a little while longer. Zerglings do run very, very quickly. They're going to make their way out all the way across the field, as the Phoenixes are going to join in. There is one proxy pylon there, and now the Phoenix may be able to get a graviton beam on that drone before that drone grows up to be a hatchery. No, the drone looks like he will be able to make it, and now that hatchery is pretty much set, as the Phoenixes can't do anything to stop it. Zerglings back over here. There is one photon cannon. The Zealot going to get surrounded very easily, and down it no, the Zealot does not get surrounded easily at all, as the level 1 weapons upgrade have been completed. Zerglings trying to finish out the photon cannon. The photon cannon dealing a lot of damage, and now the Zealot finally gets destroyed, but a Zergling gets taken down as well. You can see back over here, though, Queen's now causing a nightmare inside the main base, or the Phoenix is causing a nightmare, as the Queens are able to get off a lot of transfusions to keep each other alive and stay in this game. So back over here, Zerglings, or Photon Cannon, now attempting to take down the destructible rocks. Meanwhile, the Phoenix is still backing off here. Taking a look at the total losses, 837 versus 475. Zealots are going to get surrounded very quickly, as this hatchery, I'm not sure if it was canceled or not, but it was destroyed by a group of Zealots, as another round of Zealots do warp in. Carapace upgrades about halfway completed. We are going into the pneumatized Carapace as well, so those Overlords will be able to move more quickly, as the Phoenixes once again come in and deal a fair amount of damage. The Void Ray could try to shut down this Spore Crawler, but with so many Queens nearby and that much energy for transfusion, the Queens would be able to heal each other far too quickly, as the Zerglings now swarm around, gonna finish off this Photon Cannon, that probe, and now take down this pylon as well. So both sides just trying to get more and more map control. You can see the Phoenixes here, 7 Phoenixes trying to contain. The Zerg player is not going to be able to do very much with Mutalisk, so it looks like Sheth is going to transition into Hydralisks and Infestors, as Zealots are now pushing in. So Zealots and Void Rays for the ground army. Meanwhile, we have Phoenixes for the air army, but in come the Zerglings. Zerglings now coming in around, and now going to swarm and take down one Queen. You can see that the Phoenixes are dealing even more damage, but hard to get transfusions off when there is a sea of Overlords in the sky, and those Overlords actually causing a bit of an issue, as the Phoenixes finally back off here. The Phoenix is backing off. You can see Zealots are ready to prepare, as we should be getting in a Nexus over here in just a moment, but the Zerglings are going to swarm in once more. The Zerglings are upgraded 1-1, as the Zealots are only upgraded 1-0, so the Zerglings are going to come out slightly ahead in this matchup. More Zealots are warping in as well, but Hero desperately needs to get more reinforcements. A line of Zealots plus 1 sentry And now adding in 2 more photon cannons to protect, as there's one Phoenix who's very low on hit points with only some shields holding on to this position here. Groove Spines being added, some Hydralisk being added, Zerg Melee level 2 attacks upgrade being added, as well as we'll see what should be happening. Hero is now running off of 3 bases, or will be running off of 3 bases in just a moment. Same thing for Sheth, as there is a Void Ray hiding off over here in this dead space. So Hero could be able to come back in and destroy this hatchery once more. Phoenixes still just flying around. The Phoenixes with plenty of energy should be able to Graviton Beam Hydralisk and the more expensive, higher food count units than these poor Zerglings here. Zerglings now stretching their way across the field, should be able to swarm in here, but there are 2 pylons here, gonna make it very difficult for the Zerglings to get around, and now in come the Zealots. The Zealots even have charge to boot, and getting in a little bit more damage as they are able to hit those fleeing Zerglings even with the metabolic boost. Also, a lot of High Templars are in play. The High Templars do already have Psystorm, so with a couple force fields, but in comes a Graviton Beam onto an Infestor as the Phoenixes try to make their way in, and this is not looking good at all. Phoenix is going after units. Psystorm now coming in across all of those Infestors. But I think did it get taken down? No, there's a couple fungal growths coming in, hitting as well. The Infestor does have some armor, but not enough to protect itself, as the eggs are going to hatch. Zealots are going to finish this, and Hero in a very nice position with a very large army. And wow, an early GG coming in from Sheth. I'll say early just because the Harvester count is still pretty high, but I believe Sheth knows that there's not much he can do to really get back into this game. So he does the GG early Harvester count, 60 compared to 66, but with this standing army being so large, level 2 weapons upgrade, Phoenixes to counter all of those Infestors. You can take a look at the losses, how much larger the losses were for Sheth at that point, and we will be going into a game 2. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.